Weekend right around the corner.
Yeah, and it is our mission just to help you start your day.
Yes.
Tell you what happened, tell you which roads closed, and tell you if you should wear a sweater or a tank top.
And get you
That's
out.
kind of our job.
Chances are I think it's going to be a tank top kind of day. Let's check in with Dana, though, if you want to get out the door and on time to where you're going.
Thank goodness it's not a sweater day. I don't like those days. I'd rather have the tank top days. All right, well, enjoy your walk to school today, but let's talk about if you're driving. We do have an accident. It's actually at Spring Mountain and Wynn. You can see that intersection here. Pretty busy one along Spring Mountain. Injury accident. Try and avoid that if you can. Let's go up to Sky Witness 8 now and see what's happening on the roads. You can see here we have a great shot looking down on I-15 right around Desert Inn and Spring Mountain. You can see that heavy traffic there heading southbound. It's pretty much like this from the Spaghetti Bowl all the way down, and that's because we do have some lane closures there just from some overnight work. They haven't cleared all the cones quite yet. Plus, we've got a lot of people heading out early, of course, with school starting and everything like that. A lot of folks trying to get to work. So be aware of that. You may want to take the surface streets or else be prepared for that congestion there. Let's take another shot right now. This is a shot from our Stratosphere camera looking down at the Spaghetti Bowl where you can see things look pretty good here. So it's just once you get toward Charleston, things start to get a little bit congested. Then after you pass that one area there and go to down to Flamingo, things clear up. And here's what I was talking about with Charleston. You can see the cones off to the left side there. Looks like they've pretty much moved them all out of the way, but of course things still a little bit slow in that part of the area, part of 15. You can see northbound looking good. Here's Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard. Things looking pretty good here. We had an accident. We just saw some flashing lights, and you can still see some of them off to the right of your screen. This intersection was shut down in the eastbound direction, but now it looks like it has cleared. Traffic is definitely improved in this area. We did have some backups yesterday, but things have since cleared, and it looks like things are pretty smooth on Flamingo in both directions, so you should be okay if you need to travel across the Las Vegas Strip. The Rainbow Curve looking pretty good right now in both directions. No problems at all. So things pretty smooth there in the northwest part of the valley. Not a major problem. So I-15 southbound you definitely want to avoid. Then of course Spring Mountain and Wynn where we have that injury accident. Let's go over to Sherry now for a look at the weather.
Well, the good news for Dana and I guess for some others is that it's not sweater weather yet. Okay, so the tank top definitely in store for today if you can get away with that at work. We've got mostly clear skies out there as we look out from our Harris camera. You can see that the sun's not up. Unfortunately, the story today is we don't get the break in the heat we were hoping for, so it's going to be a hot one for kids this morning. Pretty comfortable, 82 clear skies on the way to the bus stop, but on the way home from school to catch that bus, 105 is a good average for most of the valley, so sunny and hot for us. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll get too much of a break as we head into September tomorrow either. So we'll get a little south breeze, but not much, not as much as yesterday. We're talking thunderstorms possible for the weekend. I know, it's your Labor Day holiday. We'll talk about it in 7-day forecast in just a little bit. Denise?
We won't hold it against you, Sherry.
Thank you.
If it happens. Polygamist leader Warren Jeffs will be in court later this morning. The 50-year-old is wanted in both Utah and Arizona, accused of arranging marriages between underage girls and older men. Ch.8 Eyewitness News reporter Tom Ellingson is live at the Regional Justice Center to tell us what may happen today. Tom?
Yeah, good morning, Denise. Jeffs, who was on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list, will hear those charges that are brought against him in Utah and Arizona in that extradition hearing this morning. He will then be asked if he wants to fight extradition to one or both states. Now, if he waives extradition, Jeffs will face his charges in Utah first because that state can set a higher bail than what is allowed in Arizona. Right now, Jeff sits in the Clark County Detention Center because he is such a high-profile fugitive. He's in what the jail calls administrative segregation.
Really for their own protection, but also it helps keep from you having excitement in that inmate population.
Jeffs, who's the leader of the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, was found with more than $50,000 in cash, prepaid cell phones, computers, 3 wigs, and gift cards. In Arizona, the 50-year-old self-proclaimed prophet has been charged with multiple felony charges, including sexual conduct with a minor. Utah prosecutors have charged him with 2 counts of rape as an accomplice. Jeffs allegedly set up marriages between teenage girls and older men in both states. The judge will set bail for Jeffs today. Courts in Utah have already requested for no bail. If Jeffs waives extradition, he could be sent to Utah today or tomorrow. If he doesn't waive extradition, Jeffs could remain in his Las Vegas jail cell for weeks or even months. Reporting live, Tom Ellingson, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
All right, Tom. Well, by the way, the Nevada Attorney General plans to crack down on any polygamist activity in Nevada. Though there are no official numbers in the Silver State, a law enforcement source told Eyewitness News there may be as many as 200 in Mesquite. The I-Team's George Knapp recently reported on a suspicious polygamist here in the Valley. Attorney General George Chanos will go after polygamist and is urging the public to help out.
If we get calls that provide us with credible information that we can use to develop a prosecutable case, we will very much take it seriously and we will very much pursue it.
And if you would like to watch Jeff's hearing, we will carry it live on our sister station, that is Las Vegas 1, and it begins at 9:30 this morning.
A national group of child advocates is suing Clark County and Nevada for failing to protect children. The lawsuit by the National Center for Youth Law accuses the county of being responsible for child deaths and for destroying families. The complaint includes 10 children who apparently suffered during their contact with the child welfare system. The suit criticizes the county for its lack of support for foster parents, for unsafe conditions at Child Haven, and for inadequate investigations of child abuse. The advocacy group hopes this legal move will force the county and state to make some major improvements to the child welfare system. Does Nevada spend enough of our money to provide a quality education for students? That's the question a legislative committee is trying to answer as they meet today in Carson City. Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Kyla Grogan's following the story and joins us with more. Kyla?
Good morning, Dave. It's no secret that Nevada's education system has room for improvement, but can money help solve the problem? More importantly, are we spending enough when it comes to our kids? A Colorado consultant brought in to study the issue says, no, we're not. $5,600 per student. That's the amount of money the state of Nevada spent to educate each Clark County student last school year. School district officials say that number ranks near the bottom of the list when compared with other school districts around the country. A consultant brought in to study the problem says that if Nevada truly wants to compete, that number has to go up by a lot.
No longer can we just stick our head in the sand and say, oh, it's expensive. We know it's expensive, and we're going to have to suck it up and do it.
Those of us that work in education every single day see the impact that the lack of funding has directly on the classroom.
The study that was done looked at two things. First, how successful schools in Nevada are currently funded. The conclusion: to bring all schools up to that level, Nevada needs to spend an additional $73 million per year. The second question asked what funding it would take to bring Nevada's students to 100% proficiency by the year 2013. That number, $1.3 billion. So the question today for legislators is what to do with this study. While some feel it is imperative to do whatever it takes to get Nevada out of its education slump, others say throwing money at the problem may not do the trick. Dave.
We'll see what proposals the committee comes up with today, and we'll follow that and have it for you later on. Eyewitness News at 4, 5, and 6. Well, it's day 2 of school, officially back in session in Clark County. No major problems reported yesterday, but the district is reminding parents to register their kids for bus service. This is important because schedulers need to know how many kids will be on each bus route. If you still need to register your child, we have information for you on KLASTV.com.
Well, the president is trying to gain support for the war in Iraq, and he is beginning in Utah. Mr. Bush arrived in Salt Lake City yesterday. This is the third time in less than a year that he has traveled across the country to speak about the war. And with the midterm elections right around the corner, some say the president is trying to sway voters towards candidates with a pro-war stance. But Bush says his goal is not politically based.
If we leave the streets of Baghdad before the job is done, we will have to face the terrorists in our own cities.
But not everybody in Salt Lake was happy to see the president. Anti-war protesters filled the streets just hours before he arrived. Hurricane John is now making its way up Mexico's Pacific coast. The Category 3 storm is churning just offshore and is expected to just nick Baja California before heading back out to sea. Right now, though, the storm is lashing Mexican tourist resorts with some strong winds or knocking down palm trees. As you can see, there are a lot of heavy rain. Officials fear, though, that this latest storm could trigger floods as well as mudslides.
Ernesto has regained strength in the Atlantic and is once again a tropical storm. The system's expected to hit the Carolinas later today. The storm moved through Florida yesterday. Didn't pack the punch forecasters thought it would. It lost some strength as it moved over land, and then it has since regrouped. The storm expected to dump heavy rains in the Carolinas. Flooding will be a major concern in that area. There's some college football games tonight in that area. And when you have sports books all over Nevada, everybody keeps an eye on
weather.
what big storms are moving in at what games, and so we'll all have to watch that one.
See what happens tonight. All right, well, still to come here, low humidity, dry brush, exactly the opposite kind of conditions they're having in other parts of the country. That are the conditions that's fueling a wildfire in California, so we'll have the latest on that for you.
And did you see this? The driver leads police on a chase and then puts up a fight after it's all over. We'll show it to you again coming up. It's 6:10. 12 minutes after 6, let's get a check on the traffic with Dana Roselli. Dana?
All right, well, it's a pretty busy morning out there. We've got accidents popping up all over the place. We're going to first start with some of our traffic flows. We still have that accident at Spring Mountain and
Vegas One special report. Warren Jeffs, his first appearance in court. The polygamous leader was arrested Monday night on I-15, pulled over by a Nevada Highway Patrol trooper north of Las Vegas. The arrest...
Are you Warren Jeffs? Yes. All right, Mr. Jeffs, you're being held as a fugitive, and there are 2 fugitive holds for you, one from Utah, one from Arizona. I'm going to explain to you very quickly what your rights are in regards to being a fugitive from justice. And then you tell me what you want to do. You have the right to demand that a formal warrant of extradition be issued and served upon you. That is called a governor's warrant. You have the right to apply for a review of the legality of your arrest and confinement that is referred in legal terminology to a writ of habeas corpus. You probably have to have an attorney do that for you, and you would have to hire that attorney because you don't get court-appointed counsel on a fugitive case. The process of obtaining a governor's warrant takes approximately 90 days plus whatever extra time you're in custody. You're going to be held without bail during this fugitive process. Okay? You can shorten that 90-day plus time by waiving extradition rights, the rights that I just explained to you. If you waive those rights, the state of Arizona and Utah would have a maximum of 30 days to come get you. I don't think it's going to take them that long. Also, I think between the states of Arizona and Utah, they have worked out an arrangement so that if you waive extradition, you're going to be going to Utah first. So you should be aware of that. Now, do you understand everything I just explained? Yes. Okay, what would you like to do?
Go ahead and be extradited.
You want to waive your rights in regards to extradition and go back as quickly as they can have they can come pick you up?
Yes.
All right. I need to have some paperwork here. Actually, it looks like you've already signed both waivers. Is that correct? All right. I'm going to sign the order indicating that extradition rights have been waived. In addition, I need to also inform you that the District Attorney's Office is here today from St. George, Utah, and they have some information that the bail is going to serve you. This is not the governor's warrant. This is just some local charges in St. George that's pending. You need to be apprised. There's the warrant, and it's also a no bail, and it's a request for a hearing on a no bail warrant in St. George. So as soon as you get extradited to Utah, they'll set the hearing date, and we'll put on the record that you've been served with that warrant. All right? All right. That will conclude these proceedings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we're going to go back and finish up. We just have a couple more of these civil matters.
You have been watching live Las Vegas One coverage of Warren Jeffs' first appearance in court. Our coverage continues throughout the day on Las Vegas One and Channel 8 Eyewitness News. I'm Jeff Gillen. Thank you for watching.
Back into the valley starting on Sunday, but it could even be Saturday for the mountains and the lake. So if you have plans, boating plans, hiking plans for your Labor Day, no, just keep an eye to the sky because we're only talking about a 20% chance. And as Denise pointed out, that's an 80% chance that we'll be okay.
That's right. I'm trying to be the optimist.
Yeah, nice. But higher elevations in the lake are definitely more prone to it. But we'll see if we get something in the valley for the weekend.
Quite the optimist.
You know who could use some rain is Southern California.
Oh, yeah.
Firefighters there are battling a fast-moving fire. It's in the San Bernardino National Forest.
That even takes some humidity at this point.
Yeah.
The 2,000-acre Emerald Fire is just 10% contained. So far, it's burned 4 structures and prompted the evacuation of a small community and church camp. The low humidity has dried out brush and increased the fire danger, and as you can see, it is burning up. Meantime, in Montana, a major wildfire has grown to 40,000 acres. The fire is burning near Big Timber and has forced hundreds from their homes. Several structures have been destroyed there, and a big portion of a busy interstate was shut down. The cause of the fire is unknown, but officials suspect it was sparked by lightning.
Well, investigators are releasing more details now about that deadly plane crash in Kentucky. The air traffic controller on duty was apparently working on just 2 hours of sleep. He worked a double shift that day, and investigators are trying to figure out if that may have played a part in the crash. Sunday's accident killed 49 people on board, and the lone survivor was the co-pilot, who remains in critical condition. A convicted sex offender could face the death penalty for kidnapping and killing a North Dakota college student. A federal jury found Alfonso Rodriguez guilty yesterday in the death of Drew Chodine. She was kidnapped from a mall parking lot 3 years ago. Her body was found several months later in a ravine near the town that Rodriguez lived in. The jurors will reconvene next week to deliberate on whether Rodriguez is eligible for the death penalty.
Did you see this? A police chase in Texas ends with authorities wrestling the suspect to the ground. Check it out. It happened in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The driver nearly hit one officer during the chase. It came to an end after the driver ran into a beer truck. Officers broke out the driver's side window and forced the suspect out, but then he put up quite a fight. He was eventually taken down and into custody by about, what, 9 officers?
Wow, yeah.
No word on what sparked the chase.
His shirt looked kind of tattered, too, during all of that, but hopefully everything's okay now. Wow. All right, still ahead here on Eyewitness News this morning. The new school year is officially underway in Clark County, but there may be school zone dangers at least one of the newest schools in the valley. This is someone being proactive, taking home video. We're going to tell you more about it.
Let's hope it makes a change. The future of Clark County Recorder Francis Dean could be decided today. It's 19 minutes after 6.
You're watching Channel 8 Eyewitness News this morning. It's not just news, it's Eyewitness News.
Convicted child killer Bo Maestas will be put to death.
The Utah man pled guilty to a 2003 knife attack in Mesquite that killed 3-year-old Christiana Cowan and paralyzed her 11-year-old sister Brittany Bergeron. Last week, a jury recommended the death penalty, and yesterday a judge formally confirmed that sentence. Bo's sister Monique also pled guilty to the attack. She'll be sentenced next month.
Well, Darren Mack will go to trial in Reno for allegedly killing his wife and wounding a Reno judge. Mack's defense team had asked for a mental evaluation first, though, but a justice of the peace says the trial is going to move forward. The Clark County District Attorney's Office, by the way, will be trying the case because the Washoe District Attorney is apparently acquainted with Mack and there was a conflict of interest.
The future of County Recorder Francis Dean is still in question, but the answer to whether or not she'll remain in office may not be far away. Day one of Dean's civil trial wrapped up yesterday at the Regional Justice Center. District Attorney David Roger wants Dean removed from her elected position. She's accused of 19 felony charges, including selling county documents to businesses for personal profit. A judge may decide as early as today whether Dean will fulfill her final 4 months in office.
I did not do this crime, and it's really important that I have adequate, better than adequate, legal representation.
Dean's defense attorney says the civil trial is just another way to taint the jury for Dean's upcoming criminal trial. A civil case will resume later today.
Well, students, including the McCann family, got their first day of school behind them.
Right.
New superintendent, Dr. Walt Rolfus, well, he started his first full year on the job as well. Enrollment up again this year with more than 303,000 students. The district also has 2,500 teachers, but Dr. Rolfus admits the biggest challenge is persuading those teachers to come to Southern Nevada in the first place. He says starting salary is the most critical issue and hopes the district can try and improve that. One local father is concerned about the safety of kids at one of the Valley's new schools. This is actually home video that he shot outside of Tarkanian Middle School, which is right near Blue Diamond and Jones. Still an area that's growing fast, developing. There's no sidewalks, crosswalks, no traffic lights. And you can see kids, riding their bikes. They're right next to the cars there. And then in this shot here, a parent stops their car right in the middle of the road. A kid jumps out of the car, then has to run through traffic to try and get over to the school. Steve Smith says he shot this home video hoping something will be done to make the area safer for those kids.
I see too many stories of things happening. I just didn't want that to happen to any of my kids or anybody else in the neighborhoods.
Well, hopefully that video is going to help and someone's going to see that. Officials say they're asking everyone to be safe in school zones this year, but that whole intersection's just crazy. So.
Do you like peanuts?
I do. Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. I like peanuts at a ball game. One California school has decided to ban peanuts from their campus. Well, the reason? 3 students have peanut allergies. This new rule isn't sitting so well with some parents who say it isn't fair to the other kids who like the peanuts. John Ionder has the story.
This used to be Paula Reedy's morning routine, spreading peanut butter on a bagel for her son Michael's lunch. But now she tells the 14-year-old,
"Well, son, you can't have that anymore."
3 students here at Michael's school this semester are allergic to peanuts, one so critically it could be life-threatening. So this school has ordered all peanut products off campus. No more roasted flavored nuts, no peanut candy bars, no chips cooked in peanut oil. Paula says that policy is too hard on the rest of the students and argues a better compromise would be what some public schools have, a peanut-free zone.
Where, children can go at a special table, and that table can be sanitized and sterilized by the custodian every day.
Michael says maybe the allergic kids should wear masks or be homeschooled.
If they're really that deathly allergic, then where could you take them anyway? Because even if you take them to a certain grocery store, there's peanut butter there too.
No one here was short of opinions.
That's why we pay private tuition, so that we can make those choices. If it were my son, I'd expect the same.
Student Devin Johnson appreciates the dangers involved.
A lot of people can die, or because their allergic reactions are pretty bad nowadays.
But you're upset that you don't get to eat peanuts.
Yeah.
Other parents told us they think this is a great civics lesson.
And I hope that by what the school is doing is teaching tolerance and sensitivity, and those are things that we need.
Principal Terry Ubaldi says it's all about sensitivity and tolerance.
But if it was your child, what would your expectations be of us? And living in a peanut-free environment for a few hours a day is not the end of the world, but it could be for a child with allergies.
So for this school, for now, the policy stands. Kids come to class, peanuts stay home.
Well, he is the leader of a polygamous group and was arrested right here just outside of Las Vegas. And later today, Warren Jeffs will be facing a judge for his extradition hearing. We'll have more details for you in a live report.
Also ahead, Sherry returns with a look at our neighborhood weather and an update from Dane on a major backup on I-95 southbound near the Spaghetti Bowl. See you in a minute.
Hi, I'm Greg Phillips, owner of Phillips Furniture.
Hurry, hurry, hurry. This new furniture liquidation is ending August 31st, and you're not going to want to miss out on these fantastic prices that are at cost and below. You want some examples? How about recliners starting at $168, two-piece sofa love seats from $321, five-piece dinettes from $128, and three-piece table set for only $61. Yes, these are brand new. Remember, when they're gone, they're gone. Phillips Furniture, located at 433 West Lake Mead Parkway, 1 mile east of the Fiesta Henderson Casino.
In sports and in life, competition is healthy, but especially in the world of investments. For example, did you know that investment-grade United States gold and silver coins are once again outshining the competition this year? It's true. Unlike stocks, bonds, or even cash, U.S. gold and silver coins have outperformed nearly every other asset in the 21st century. And for nearly a quarter century, Swiss America has helped protect and grow Americans' wealth with good old-fashioned U.S. gold and silver coins. So if you have assets to protect, call my friends at Swiss America for a free information kit. You'll discover how easy it is to make your assets shine, no matter how dull it gets on Wall Street. So with sports, life, and investing, I say that now is the time to go for the gold with Swiss America.
Part MP3 player, part phone, totally sweet. Everybody loves chocolate by LG, exclusively from Verizon Wireless.
If you haven't been to Surge's Wigs lately, you can't imagine what you're missing. Surge's has the largest selection of short, medium, and long wigs in human and synthetic hair that you will ever see in one store. And be sure to ask about Magic Hair, clip-in extensions custom made in our store that look great and won't damage your hair. So for fashion, convenience, or necessity, hurry to Surge's for the best quality and value. Surge's Wigs, 953 East Sahara Avenue in the Commercial Center. Surge's, the world's largest wig store. Visit us today.
You're watching Channel 8 Eyewitness News this morning. It's not just news, it's eyewitness news.
Well, good Thursday morning to you, just about 6:30. Thanks for joining us.
We're never too far away from a major issue with the commute.
Oh, yeah.
And Dana's never too far away from us. Dana, what do you got?
I'm always on top of it. I told you something was happening. I just had to exactly pinpoint it and find it out. Let's go right up to Sky Witness 8. We have them over that accident, 95 southbound. It's right near the Spaghetti Bowl, and you can see there the accident isn't too major, but it is causing a backup where everyone's trying to merge into that one lane, and it is definitely causing some major slowdowns. I can see the accident there, and then Mike's up there in Sky Witness 8. If you could pull out a little bit for me, we'll look at the backup and see how far it goes. So Mike's kind of over the Spaghetti Bowl.
Hello, I'm Jeff Gillen. This is a Las Vegas One special report. Warren Jeffs, his first appearance in court. The polygamous leader was arrested Monday night on I-15, pulled over by a Nevada Highway Patrol trooper north of Las Vegas. The arrest ends Jeffs' year on the run and 3 months on the FBI's most wanted list. Jeffs is the leader of the fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It broke away from the mainstream Mormon church a century ago when the church outlawed polygamy. This morning, Jeffs will appear in justice court for what is called a fugitive hearing. He will hear the charges against him, which are that he arranged marriages between underage girls and older men. Jeffs will be given the option to waive or fight extradition. Under a deal worked out yesterday, Utah authorities will try Jeffs first and Arizona will follow. Both states are involved because Jeffs' fundamentalist followers live in Hilldale, Utah, and Colorado City, Arizona, which, as you see, straddles the Utah-Arizona border. We now go to Las Vegas Justice Court with Judge James Bixler presiding.
Are you Warren Jeffs?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Jeffs, you're being held as a fugitive, and there are 2 fugitive holds for you, one from Utah, one from Arizona. I'm going to explain to you very quickly what your rights are in regards to being a fugitive from justice. Then you tell me what you want to do. You have the right to demand that a formal warrant of extradition be issued and served upon you. That is called a governor's warrant. You have the right to apply for a review of the legality of your arrest and confinement that is referred in legal terminology to a writ of habeas corpus. You probably have to have an attorney do that for you, and you would have to hire that attorney because you don't get court-appointed counsel on a fugitive case. The process of obtaining a governor's warrant takes approximately 90 days plus whatever extra time you're in custody. You're going to be held without bail during this fugitive process. Okay? You can shorten that 90-day plus time by waiving extradition rights, the rights that I just explained to you. If you waive those rights, the state of Arizona and Utah would have a maximum of 30 days to come get you. I don't think it's going to take them that long. Also, I think between the states of Arizona and Utah, they have worked out an arrangement so that if you waive extradition, you're going to be going to Utah first. So you should be aware of that. Now, do you understand everything I just explained?
Yes.
Okay, what would you like to do?
Go ahead and be extradited.
You want to waive your rights in regards to extradition and go back as quickly as they can have they can come pick you up?
Yeah.
All right. I need to have some paperwork here. Actually, it looks like you've already signed both waivers. Is that correct? All right. I'm going to sign the order indicating that extradition rights have been waived. In addition, I need to also inform you that the District Attorney's Office is here today from St. George, Utah, and they have some information that the bail is going to serve you. This is not the governor's warrant. This is just some local charges in St. George that's pending. You need to be apprised There's the warrant, and it's also a no bail. That's a request for a hearing on a no bail warrant in St. George. So as soon as you get extradited to Utah, they'll set the hearing date, and we'll put on the record that you've been served with that warrant. All right? All right, that'll conclude these proceedings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we're going to go back and finish up. We just have a couple more of these.
You have been watching live Las Vegas 1 coverage of Warren Jeffs' first appearance in court. Our coverage continues throughout the day on Las Vegas 1 and Channel 8 Eyewitness News. I'm Jeff Gillen. Thank you for watching.
Sent to Utah as early as today. Reporting live, Tom Ellingson, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Tom. Some close to Jeffs have been speaking out about his arrest. Richard Holm is a former FLDS member and says if Jeffs is convicted and sent to jail, he will not make it out alive.
One of my brothers-in-law told me that he heard Warren say, and Warren said it to him, he says, if I'm ever taken to jail, I will be killed in jail.
You can watch Warren Jeffs' extradition hearing live on our sister station, Las Vegas 1, coming up at 9:30 this morning.
Well, a national organization has filed a lawsuit against Clark County as well as the state of Nevada for failing to protect children. The lawsuit filed by the National Center for Youth Law includes the stories of 10 kids who had contact with the child welfare system and suffered as a result. Among the problems outlined in that complaint are unsafe conditions at Child Haven, inadequate child abuse investigations, and lack of support for foster parents. Attorney Bill Grimm says the federal lawsuit calls for change.
They've thought that the problem will go away without hard work, without new ways of doing things. That's why we are where we are today with Clark County DFS. Complacency, a lack of urgency, and a failure to take bold steps to change things and improve things for children and families.
The group hopes the power of the law can force the state as well as the county to reform the child welfare system here in Clark County. Well, does Nevada spend enough money to provide a quality education for its students? That is the question that a legislative committee is trying to answer as they meet today in Carson City. Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Kyla Grogan joining us now with what may happen today. Kyla?
That's right. Nevada needs to spend more money on education if Nevadans expect our public schools to compete with other successful schools across the country. That's what the study concluded. Right now, we spend $5,600 per student per year here in Clark County. The district says that puts us at the bottom of the list for spending and could lead to less achievement for our kids. The study looked at two things. First, what are successful schools in Nevada spending, and what would it take to bring all schools in the state to that level? The answer, an additional $73 million per year would need to be spent on education. The second question asked experts to fund schools based on the goal of 100% student proficiency by the year 2013. That high hurdle would add $1.3 billion to the current education budget. It's a number that has people talking.
We value our state and we value our children and we value our future. We're going to look into spending more money for education.
I don't think anybody is opposed to funding education at a more appropriate level, but we've got to look at the policy first. We've got to make sure what we're funding is appropriate.
Today, state legislators are charged with the task of figuring out what to do with this study and to come up with some specific proposals for spending on education in our state. Now, clearly two sides to this issue. One says funding is a direct link to achievement. The other says throwing money at education won't necessarily solve the problem. Denise.
All right, Kyla. Well, today's meeting of the Legislative Committee on School Funding Adequacy will hopefully yield some specific funding proposals. Now, we will be following the progress of the meeting and we'll have more for you on the story as it continues to develop.
President Bush is in Salt Lake City this morning trying to gather support for the war in Iraq, but the mayor there is leading a protest against him.
And a unique memorial may be forced to shut down due to the rising number of deaths in Iraq. We'll explain right after this.
You're watching Channel 8 Eyewitness News this morning. It's not just news, it's Eyewitness News. Your news and weather an hour earlier. News 1 at 9. Southern Nevada's only 9 p.m. newscast on Las Vegas 1 Cable Channel 19.
We don't live in a perfect world, but you could help make it better. Train in criminal justice and you could have lots of opportunities. You could work as a parole officer, youth advocate, correctional treatment specialist, and more. Times like these call for people like you. So don't wait any longer. Find out how you can get started in criminal justice.
Train online. Call 800-794-1512. Call now.
My mom and dad lived in the same house for 52 years. It needed a lot of upkeep and Mom could not afford it. So what we decided to do was we've got to sell it, and then there was the problem of so much repair work.
It was an emotional time for Bonnie.
Homevestors is hassle-free. If they said they would do something, it happened.
Call on Homevestors, the We Buy Ugly Houses people. We're here to help.
We moved on from something that was ugly to something that worked out beautifully.
The IRS threatened to seize my car, my boat, and my business. I didn't know where to turn, so my accountant recommended Power Tax Relief.
Thousands of law-abiding Americans have turned to Power Tax Relief. Honest people just like you, whose circumstances left them owing more taxes than they could pay. Like the Myers family, who owed the IRS $40,000 from illness and family emergencies.
With Power Tax Relief, we paid only a portion of what we owed the IRS.
And they saved our house.
You can bet the IRS will have lawyers working on your case. Don't take a chance without your own legal help.
I was so worried I was going to lose my practice, but the team from Power Tax Relief, they got me a second chance.
Look, you have a limited window to negotiate with the IRS and settle your debt for less. This could be your last chance. Play it right with Power Tax Relief.
Owe over $10,000 in taxes? Settle with the IRS for less.
Call 800-517-2143. That's 800-517-2143.
President Bush is next door in Utah this morning, kicking off a major push to promote the war in Iraq.
But not everybody is happy to see him there. In fact, the mayor of Salt Lake City led an anti-war protest yesterday, demanding the president, quote, tell the truth about the war, end quote. Thousands gathered for that rally, which took place several hours before the president actually arrived.
The rising number of deaths in Iraq may temporarily shut down a unique memorial in California. The memorial is located in Santa Barbara. Wooden crosses are placed in the sand, each representing a military death in Iraq. But organizers say they're having a hard time keeping up because the number of deaths has reached more than 2,600, and there seems to be no end in sight to the war.
Well, today is the deadline for Iran to stop its nuclear activities or else face UN sanctions. If the country refuses to stop, the UN Security Council could begin considering economic as well as political penalties. The U.S. is likely to push for those penalties, but Iran's president is urging European nations to resist imposing sanctions because he says they will not end the nuclear program. So they're still taking a strong stand there.
Dana Roselli's been busy this morning with our commute, the second day back to school and a very slow day along I-95.
Ooh, horrible out there. Getting any better or getting worse?
Well, it's pretty much staying the same at this point, so either or, because it's backed up so far, it's really just going to affect your commute. Just count out US 95 southbound. Let's show you right now. We're going to go up to Sky Witness 8. I'm not sure if he's ready up there. There we go. Looking over the rainbow curve, and you can see the backup goes all the way up and around the curve and up toward 95 around Lake Mead and Cheyenne. Now, the actual accident is at US 95 southbound at the I-15. So it's going all the way up, and it's southbound traffic, 3 lanes, bumper to bumper. Do take the surface streets. Do not hop on US 95 southbound. This is one of the longest backups I've seen in a long time. I think we've just got the start of school, everyone getting out there, more cars on the road, and then the accident in the mix is just really slowing things down. Take the surface streets. Here's a different shot, rainbow curve from the ground, our Mulaski Family Properties camera, and you can see that slow traffic making its way around the curve, stays that way all the way to I-15 and the Spaghetti Bowl. So start planning those surface street. I would give you a list of surface streets you could take, but really just come up with your own. There's so many east-west roads, north-south. It really depends where you live. Maybe Rancho, if you're coming from the north, take that down. Could be a little congested, though, once you get toward US 95 with the lane closures. Here's a shot of the Spaghetti Bowl. You can see this is sitting over the Spaghetti Bowl looking south. Spaghetti Bowl nice and clear right now at 643, mostly because a lot of people stuck in southbound 95, and so it's clearing things up here in the Spaghetti Bowl, and there's no problems, northbound or southbound. southbound. So if you need to travel through there or you're coming in from the north on I-15 heading southbound, you should be good. Here's a shot from our Rio camera. Just taking a look at Flamingo. Wanted to keep an eye on this morning because we saw some backups eastbound yesterday. It was bumper-to-bumper traffic because of lane closures, but today you can see traffic has definitely improved. No backups at all in either direction on Flamingo. Looks like 15 south, though, just a little bit slow in that southbound direction there as you go underneath the Flamingo Bridge. Here's a shot down in the southeast part of the valley. We didn't forget about you guys. Here's a nice look at 515-95 and the 215 interchange. Things looking pretty good down there, and really no accidents reported in that part of town on the surface streets or the highway. So southeast part of the valley looking great. US 95 southbound, avoid it all the way from probably Cheyenne down to the Spaghetti Bowl. So, Sherry, I don't know, air conditioning today, pump it up, I guess, if you're stuck in there.
That's a pretty good swath of 95 that's involved there. So, no news is good news for the South Valley. For us this morning, plenty of sunshine. Sky Witness 8 has a gorgeous shot looking out towards the mountains. Sun is up, really no clouds out there to speak of, but there will be plenty of heat by the afternoon. Let's look in some neighborhoods this morning. Had a lot of 80s around town this morning. Green Valley Parkway at 215, Twitchell Elementary at 84. That neighborhood less than 20% humidity, just slightly higher. Cunningham Elementary, East Flamingo, east of Boulder Highway with some low 80s, and Silverado Ranch about 84. We've had a few 70s up in the northwest part of town, just about where that backup begins, in the northwest part of the valley. Alrighty, let's talk about Ernesto. Man, it's regained some strength now, back to a tropical storm now that it's moved off the coast of Florida. It's just sitting east of Savannah and is looking to spread a whole lot of rain and possibly some flooding conditions up into the Carolinas over the next couple of days through the weekend. So this is going to be a pretty strong rainmaker for the mid-Atlantic states. I wish we could get some rain. Might get a chance for the weekend. Might. 99 by lunchtime. Hot today at 105. Hello. 99 is where we're supposed to be stopping. 105 today, 104 tomorrow. Not as much of a break in the heat as we were hoping as we head into our first weekend of September. And now the threat of those thunderstorms possible for the valley starting on Sunday. Actually, it's Hurricane John down there off the coast of Mexico. Kind of depends on which way he goes as to how much moisture gets pushed in our area. If he hugs the coast, we could get a little surge. So we start a new watering schedule tomorrow. Groups A, C, and E, you're the only ones that should be watering on Friday. Okay. That's it.
D, you're going to have to wait.
D, you can wait till Saturday.
Okay.
You're D too? Tuesday,
no
Thursday, Saturday.
My wife knows.
You just picked D, and there is no watering on Sundays. Done. We're done. That's not an optional day anymore.
And still no watering between 11 and 7.
Absolutely, through September, and then that's lifted as of October 1st.
Maybe Hurricane John will come up and water everybody.
Yeah.
And we just turn off our sprinklers for September.
Yeah.
Oh, that's never going to happen.
Thanks, Sherry.
Well, you know, Sherry was mentioning it, wreaking havoc there on Mexico's Pacific coast. We're going to have an update on Hurricane John coming up here in just a couple of minutes.
Plus, Hollywood is remembering one of its own after a longtime actor passes away at 6:46.
Hurricane John now making its way through Mexico's Pacific coast.
The Category 3 storm is churning just offshore. Is expected to hit Baja California before some think it's going to head back out to sea. This morning, the storm is lashing Mexican tourist resorts with strong winds and heavy rain. You see the damage there. Officials fear floods and mudslides will follow, and then we'll see if we're going to get any of the aftermath coming up here and raining on us.
Well, it seems like the last few days we've been keeping our eye on Ernesto. It has now regained strength in the Atlantic and is once again a tropical storm. The system is expected to hit the Carolinas sometime tonight. Now, the storm moved through Florida yesterday, but it really didn't pack a punch that the forecasters had really predicted. The storm lost some strength as it moved over land, and the rain's heavy, but not too bad. The storm is expected to dump heavy rain, though, in the Carolinas, and flooding is going to be a major concern in that area.
Those high-speed chases seem to be a daily occurrence in California. Here's another one. Happened yesterday. The suspect led police down several streets before pulling into a garage, and once inside, police were able to stop him and arrest him. Authorities have not said why the suspect was on the run. The husband of a woman who was crushed to death by falling concrete in a Boston tunnel has filed a lawsuit against the Massachusetts Turnpike Authority. Angel DiValle was in the car with his wife Melina last month when 12 tons of concrete fell on the car, killing her. DeValle says he believes his life was spared so he could bring light to other safety problems. His attorney, Leo Boyle, says the family just wants to move on.
Their hope is that they can get this public part of the lawsuit behind them quickly and return to their lives in peace and privacy.
Since Milena DeValle's death, hundreds of trouble spots have been found in the city's interstate connectors, and many of the roads and tunnels have been closed since that accident.
Well, a pot bust turned into something much more in Atlanta. Federal agents seized $50 million worth of meth, as well as arresting 2 people. Police say a marijuana field was being grown in a national forest. And when agents searched a nearby house, that's when they found 341 pounds of meth, and more than 300 marijuana plants were also seized. Well, the entertainment world is mourning one of its own today. Longtime leading man Glenn Ford has died at the age of 90. Paramedics were called to his California home yesterday and they found the actor dead, but police do not suspect any kind of foul play. Ford's career spanned 53 years, made more than 100 films. He was known for his strong, thoughtful characters in films like The Blackboard Jungle, Midway, and The Big Heat.
Well, here's a disturbing story for you. A group of bandits are accused of using snakes to help them steal a car. Now, how would you do that? We'll show you coming up.
And where do you get the idea about these snakes? What do you think?
Probably a movie.
Coming up, Sherry has a look at our neighborhood weather forecast as we take a look at those blue skies here on a Thursday. Be right back.
.654, thanks to that unique ad campaign, we've all become familiar with snakes on a plane.
Much to your disappointment.
Right, it's disappointing.
But some bandits in Arkansas have decided to use snakes now as a weapon. Police say it actually just started off as a joke when 3 men brought a couple of baby snakes inside a convenience store. With the clerks on duty, they got so scared they ran into the back of the store. Police say that's when the men took one of the clerk's car keys, stole the car. After leading police on a chase and totaling that car, the 3 suspects were arrested.
That is disturbing.
Snakes.
Residents in warm climates are used to seeing alligators from time to time, but in New Hampshire, it's quite a shock to see one. Police pulled out a 28-inch long alligator from a pond. Authorities think it may have been someone's pet that was just ditched. An officer who helped catch the gator is taking it home and hopes to donate it to a wildlife preserve.
Doesn't look so big when he's holding it there.
No.
Well, the MTV Music Video Awards is going to be taking place tonight in New York City, but the parties surrounding the big night have already kicked off. Last night, several VMA pre-parties were held around the city, and wrestler Hulk Hogan was in attendance along with Haley Duff and Kanye West. It's going to be a wild party tonight.
Big backup on US 95. We'll show it to you live when we come back.
Polygamous leader Warren Jeffs will go before a judge this morning. We're going to take you live to the Regional Justice Center.
And a new warning about some widely used drugs people are buying over the internet from Canadian pharmacies. Details coming up.
Plus, a pretty unlikely source makes a donation to help Clark County school teachers.
Okay.
Well, just by looking at the video, that probably gives you a hint as to who gave teachers the money.
I do not want to know about the fundraiser. But yeah, that story's coming up. The Warren Jeff story is huge, of course. But there's a long line of cars sitting around doing nothing on US 95.
Yeah, Dana said it's been a long time since she's seen this kind of backup. What's going on out there?
No, I just think we have a lot of cars on the road and everyone just trying to go in the same direction. Then we get an accident in the mix and it's backed things up all the way up toward the northwest part of the valley. Accident, though, is actually right around Rancho 95 southbound. Here's a shot from Sky Witness 8, and you can see things are starting to move a little bit, so that's good. Probably in a half hour or so we could start to see traffic improve here. The accident is now cleared and traffic is starting to move, but we still have very slow traffic around the loop there, and you can see as he points at Sky Witness 8 pointing out toward the west. Now we're looking more toward Decatur and Jones, and you can see how it's starting to break up, and as you make your way southbound, we're seeing some improvement, but as we look more toward the Rainbow Curve, you can see it is still very sluggish there and really bumper to bumper at this point. It's backed up all the way toward Lake Mead, so you definitely want to avoid that. If you can, try and take the surface streets. You probably will not be a very happy person if you get stuck in this southbound traffic. All right, let's let's show you a different shot now from the ground. This is a shot from our Mulaski Family Properties camera, and here's what I was saying. You can see how much slower it is back here. So even though the accident's cleared, the traffic has started to break up a little bit around the accident in the southbound direction, but we're still seeing that slow traffic as you make your way southbound, right around the curve, and then north of that as well. So not pretty out there. Let's check on some different cameras right now. Our Rio camera showing us I-15 northbound and southbound looking pretty good, and it looks like Flamingo Road looking good this morning as well. We saw eastbound traffic backed up yesterday because of lane closures, but this morning you should be in the clear. No problems and no delays along Flamingo, so that's great news. Spaghetti Bowl looking great this morning as well, probably again because everyone's stuck in that southbound traffic on 95. Usually they're trying to merge onto 15 southbound, and we see some slowdowns, but today northbound and southbound looking really good there in both directions, so no problems there. Accident reported at the airport connector and I-215 in the eastbound direction, but it looks like here you can see from this shot we're looking right up at the 215. Eastbound's just flying by. It looks like westbound traffic where it connects with I-15 northbound is where we're seeing that slow traffic there, so add a couple extra minutes, maybe leave a little bit early if you need to head 215 in the westbound direction heading toward I-15. Just a little slow around there. Whew. Quite a morning there, Sherry, on the roads for your Thursday.
Yeah, definitely. And we are seeing that sun just kind of flying up there, actually just kind of slowly rising in the eastern sky as we look outside with our Sky Witness 8 camera. Beautiful sunny skies out there, and things are very dry for us. We've got 80s around town this morning as kids head out for school. Looks like it's going to be just fine. But it's going to be pretty hot by the time everybody heads home this afternoon. We're talking 105. So drink the water, stay in the AC as much as you can, and protect yourself from the heat and the sun. We've got some interesting weather coming in for your Labor Day weekend. That's all ahead in neighborhood weather. Denise, Dave?
Thanks, Sherry. It was a routine traffic stop that led to the arrest of one of the FBI's most wanted.
And in just a couple of hours from now, polygamist Warren Jeffs will make his first court appearance after being on the run for more than a year. Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Tom Ellingson is live at the Regional Justice Center this morning with a preview. Tom?
Yeah, good morning, Dave. We hope to find out how long the self-proclaimed prophet will be here in Las Vegas. He's got his extradition hearing at 9:30 this morning down here at the Justice Center. First, he'll be told what charges have been brought against him in Utah and Arizona. He will then be asked if he wants to fight extradition to either state. Utah has first dibs on prosecuting Jeffs. That's because the state can set a higher bail than what is allowed in Arizona. Jeffs has been charged with multiple felonies in Arizona and Utah. He allegedly arranged marriages between teenage girls and older men in both states. If Jeffs doesn't waive extradition at his hearing, he could remain in southern Nevada for weeks or even months. If he waives extradition, he could be sent to Utah as soon as today. Reporting live, Tom Ellingson, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
And we will be carrying Warren Jeffs' hearing live on our sister station, Las Vegas 1. It begins at 9:30 this morning.
The Clark County School District is getting a donation from an unlikely source. The Public Education Foundation, which is a nonprofit group that supports the district, accepted a $2,500 donation from the strip club Scores. The club says it raised the money at a back-to-school event called Detention that featured strippers dressed as teachers, schoolgirls, and librarians. The money will provide materials, supplies, and computers for teachers for free or at little cost. Right now, the amount of money Nevada spends on education is coming under fire. Some say we don't spend enough to make sure kids get a quality education. Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Kyla Grogan joins us live with more. Kyla?
Good morning, Dave. It's no secret that Nevada's education system has room for improvement, but can money solve the problem? A Colorado consultant brought in to study the issue says yes. $5,600 per child. That's the amount of money the state of Nevada spent to educate each Clark County student last year. School district officials say that number ranks near the bottom of the list when compared with other school districts around the country. A consultant brought in to study the problem says that if Nevada truly wants to compete, that number has to go up by a lot.
No longer can we just stick our head in the sand and say, oh, it's expensive. We know it's expensive, and we're going to have to suck it up and do it.
Those of us that work in education every single day see the impact that the lack of funding has directly on the classroom.
Now, the study that was done looked at two things. First, how successful schools in Nevada are currently funded. The conclusion: to bring all schools up to that level, Nevada needs to spend an additional $73 million per year. The second question asked what funding it would take to bring Nevada's students to 100% proficiency by the year 2013. That number, $1.3 billion. So the question today for legislators is what to do with this study. While some feel it is imperative to do whatever it takes to get Nevada out of its education slump, others say throwing money at the problem may not do the trick. Denise.
All right, Kyla, thanks a lot. A lot of Californians, of course, coming to Las Vegas every year, every weekend. They come here to gamble. But a new deal may give them some other options. California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger is now letting several Indian tribes install tens of thousands of new slot machines. Well, that could be pretty damaging considering the largest casinos in Las Vegas only have about 3,000 slot machines. The contracts, though, still need to be approved this week by federal officials.
Seems like there's election signs up around the valley every day, every year. Well, today, those primary election signs should start to go away. It's the deadline for candidates to get their ads removed. If they fail to do it, officials will remove it and dispose of the signs themselves and then charge the candidates with the cost of removal.
Well, the Food and Drug Administration has a new warning this morning on prescription drugs that are sold online from Canada. It says fake versions of widely used drugs are being sold and they may not be safe. Nevadans can fill their prescriptions legally from certain Canadian websites, but only specific ones are approved, and the ones you are allowed to buy from are not accused of filling any kind of counterfeit drugs.
A new report this morning may explain why it's getting harder for some smokers to quit. The Massachusetts Department of Health says it's found that nicotine has been boosted in most cigarette brands. Camel, Marlboro, and Newport all had more nicotine than they did 6 years ago.
And still ahead here, a vehicle with no doors and little armor.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, we're talking about buying something that doesn't protect the troops.
We'll find out why the military invested millions of dollars in this vehicle and where officials plan to use it.
And Dana Roselli is back to give us an update on that slowdown on US 95 that has a whole bunch of Las Vegans checking their watches this morning. It's 7:07.
You're watching Channel 8 Eyewitness News this morning. It's not just news, it's eyewitness news.
Well, the U.S. Marines say it's a cutting-edge military vehicle, but critics see a little something else. No doors, no windows, and very little armor. It's called the Growler, and a Pentagon watchdog group says it doesn't understand why the military is paying more than $100,000 for every one of these Jeeps, which is about the same cost of one fully armored Humvee.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, we're talking about buying something that doesn't protect the troops, which is clearly the most important thing right now.
But officials say the Growler isn't just any old Jeep. While it does everything a Humvee can do, it's about 1,000 pounds lighter, and it can be transported on a V-22 Osprey aircraft. Also, the government says it will not put the Growler in dangerous regions where soldiers could be ambushed or hurt. And for that reason, critics say there's no point in spending all this money for them when they can't go to dangerous parts of the world like Iraq. So we'll see what happens. It's pretty expensive.
It's an interesting little thing, but costly.
Very expensive, yeah.
Let's check in with Dana Roselli. Get an update on the commute this morning, Dana.
Okay, thanks, Dave and Denise. Not the best commute I've ever seen. Let's go right upstairs to Sky Witness 8, flying high above US 95, sitting right around the Spaghetti Bowl, looking out toward the west. And you can see we still have a major backup here in the southbound direction. There was an accident right around I-15 95 southbound, but it's since been cleared. You can see traffic is starting to move just a little bit there. So we're seeing some improvement, but it's still pretty slow. I would definitely advise still taking possibly the surface streets if you need to head in the southbound direction if you're coming in from the north. We'll show you a map here and show you how far that backup goes to. It's just around Cheyenne and then passes Lake Mead, makes its way around the curve there. So here's some alternate routes if you are heading in from the north. You can always take Buffalo or maybe Rancho to the southbound direction, maybe connect up with Charleston if you need to go in the eastbound direction. So a couple options for you if you need to come in. There are other surface streets you can take instead of the highway. Just plan on that. Leave a little bit of extra time if you need to head out the door. We'll show you why here. The Rainbow Curve still looking pretty slow, like I mentioned, making its way around there. 3 lanes of traffic, pretty much bumper to bumper still. So probably another half hour this will clear up, but if you need to leave in the next few minutes, I would definitely advise taking those streets that I showed you. We have an accident in the westbound direction on I-215. This is a shot from our Harris corporate camera, and you can see this is looking right over the airport connector, looking north toward the 215, and you can see in the westbound direction we have slow traffic. First the accident was reported eastbound, now they have switched switched it to westbound, which explains that slow traffic heading toward I-15. Also may want to take the surface streets there. Busy morning out there, Sherry, but it's going to shape up to be a pretty warm day as well.
Yeah, absolutely warm. It's going to be a very hot commute for you this afternoon, as temperatures are actually going to be a little bit hotter than yesterday. We were hoping to cool down. Plenty of sun out there, high pressure that's built in over us with a very dry westerly flow, and we won't even look for very many clouds, starting off our day with blue skies out there. For the kids, if you're still heading out to the bus stop this morning, kind of mild. We've got a lot of 80s around town. Good average is about 82, and for the afternoon, we're looking at 105. Plenty of heat. We really should be stopping in the upper 90s, but we'll get those by noon and then slide into those triple digits for sure. Let's check out some neighborhoods. Downtown Henderson, Water Street, 84 this morning, no real wind, and humidity that's up anywhere from teens to about 25–28%. Not too bad. Jones and Smoke Ranch, a little bit cooler at 73. We really should be feeling more mid-70s for morning lows, and we just really haven't been there lately. That's because the afternoons are too hot. Let's talk about Ernesto. It's regained some strength. Sustained winds now back up to 55 miles an hour to tropical storm strength, and is sliding up the east coast. It's just off the coast of Georgia, sending a lot of rain out ahead of it, and will continue to track right into the Carolinas for the rest of the week, bringing some possibly flooding conditions with the heavy rainfall there. Then a little bit of wind, but not terrible. For us, our winds will be calmer today than yesterday, about 99 by lunchtime, 105 for the afternoon high. We're already starting to see some of that monsoon moisture sneak back into Arizona. We'll stay fine today, but we're watching this hurricane behind the 8. We can lose that. I want to show you Hurricane John. Boop, 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 boop. There it is. Hurricane John, just off the coast of Mexico. I've been talking about the flooding conditions. It's 125 mile-per-hour winds. As it slides up Baja, it could help pull that surge of monsoon moisture right back up into the deserts by the weekend. So we won't even cool down too much. And now it looks like we'll get a chance for some thunderstorms over the valley, maybe by Sunday through the middle of next week. So not much of a cool down, Dave, Denise, as we were hoping for. And now maybe the threat of thunderstorms for the holiday. We'll see how that all shakes out as we get into the weekend.
Thank you, Sherry. Let's show you some of the damage that Hurricane John has done to parts of Mexico.
The storm is now a Category 3 with winds reaching 125 miles an hour. But yesterday, John did hit Acapulco as a Category 4. The area saw storm surges of up to 10 feet. You see a lot of downed trees there and the possibility of some severe flooding. Well, Tropical Storm Ernesto is expected to reach the Carolinas sometime tonight and gain some strength as it moves over the warm waters there of the Atlantic Ocean.
Before Ernesto left Florida, the storm did cause some problems for 2 Marines who got caught up in the high winds and rain. The Coast Guard had to come out and hoist the pair to safety. Officials say the boat they were on lost engine power and its mainsail broke. So quite a rescue for the Marines out there yesterday.
But at least safe now.
Yeah.
All right, well, still ahead here, the early show is going to be coming up next. When we come back in about 10 minutes, we're going to show you the results of a new study that tested how effective ethanol is as a fuel alternative. Really, how popular is it? Is it catching on? Well, you'll find out when we come back here in just about 10 minutes. We'll see you then.
Two hours from right now, one of the nation's most wanted gets his day in court. A preview of the case against polygamous church leader Warren Jeffs. Up next.
It's not a panacea to replace gasoline.
Well, before you place your bets on ethanol as an alternative fuel, you may want to see the results of a brand new report.
And some say Nevada needs to spend more than $1 billion to help our schools perform better. We'll hear what they have to say. Good morning. It is Thursday, August 31st.
It's a pretty big price tag. Kyla Grogan will be along more with the details on that. But first, let's get a check on traffic as the 95 has just been a bear this morning. Dana?
It has, and it continues to be. We'll show you right now a shot of our rainbow curve. I say our. We all take it eventually. You can see here 95 southbound. Look at that bumper-to-bumper traffic still. Now, the accident is cleared. It was at 95 south right around the 15, so just past Rancho. It has been cleared. Traffic started moving again, but now we just got a lot of folks on the road here, and we still have the backup from the accident just because we had all that traffic before. So just be aware you may still want to take the surface streets. Here's a couple ideas. If you're coming in from the north heading south, maybe you want to take Buffalo Drive down to the south over under the Summerlin Parkway, or Rancho maybe from the north down to the south, and that will bring you over to US 95 in Rancho, and you can cut under or hop on there. Or of course you could always take Charleston in the eastbound direction too. So a couple different options for you if you'd like to avoid the 95. I would suggest doing that if you're going to head out the door anytime soon. Maybe in the next half hour we'll start to see some clearing, hopefully. We hope. Here's another shot, the Harris camera, airport connector in 215. You can see we still have slow traffic. You can see that right in the center of your screen there on the I-215 heading in the westbound direction toward I-15. We did have an accident there, and it looks like it's still tying things up. Plus, of course, we've got our busy traffic out there. Also, reports of an accident at Blue Diamond Road at Rainbow, and it's on Rainbow in the southbound direction. Buffalo and Hacienda, Bermuda and Windmill as well. And then here's a shot of the Henderson interchange. No problems there, no accidents reported in that part of town. So a couple problems out there, but hopefully we'll start to see some improvement shortly. For now, avoid US 95 southbound. That's a definite. Sherry?
It's kind of a Three Musketeers thing, one for all and all for one. It's our rainbow curve. It's going to be our hot last day of August, too. We'll all share in the heat. We've got blue skies, plenty of sun, and temperatures that are rolling right into the mid-80s in many valley neighborhoods. 83 right now in Boulder City. Oh, we're down to 70 in Pahrump. That's kind of nice, and near 80 in Primm, 91 already in Laughlin. Here's your last afternoon of August, 105. Extra warm as we head into the weekend, and it doesn't look like we're going to get that much of a break in the heat. Plus, we're going to throw in possible thunderstorms for your Labor Day weekend. We've got a lot to talk about coming up in your extended forecast. That's 7 days looking ahead. Denise?
All right, Sherry, let's get everyone caught up on the headlines for this Thursday. The Nevada Highway Patrol, as you know, found polygamist Warren Jeffs heading out of Las Vegas. The fundamentalist church leader has been on the run now for more than a year, but today he is set to make his first court appearance. Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Tom Ellingson is live at the Regional Justice Center with more details. Tom?
Hey, good morning, Denise. Jeffs, who was on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list, will hear those charges brought against him in Arizona and Utah during this morning's extradition hearing. Starts about 9:30 down here at the Justice Center. He will then be asked if he wants to fight extradition to one or both states. If he waives extradition, Jeffs will face his charges in Utah first because that state can set a higher bail than what is allowed in Arizona. Right now, Jeffs sits in the Clark County Detention Center. Because he's such a high-profile fugitive, he's in what the jail calls administrative segregation.
Do it really for their own protection, but also it helps keep from you having excitement in that inmate population.
Jeffs, who's the leader of the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, was found with more than $50,000 in cash, prepaid cell phones, computers, 3 wigs, and gift cards. In Arizona, the 50-year-old self-proclaimed prophet has been charged with multiple felony charges, including sexual conduct with a minor. Utah prosecutors have charged him with 2 counts of rape as an accomplice. Jeffs allegedly set up marriages between teenage girls and older men in both states. The judge will set bail for Jeffs today. Courts in Utah have already requested no bail. If Jeffs waives extradition, he could be sent to Utah today or tomorrow. If he does not waive that extradition, Jeffs could remain in a Las Vegas jail for the next couple of weeks or even months. Reporting live, Tom Ellingson, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Well, here's sort of the ripple effect from that arrest. A crackdown this morning on possible polygamist activities here in Nevada. Nevada Attorney General George Ch.8 says he is now assigning an investigator to look into reports of polygamy.
If we get calls that provide us with credible information that we can use to develop a prosecutable case, we will very much take it seriously and we will very much pursue it.
Ch.8 says there are no solid numbers on the number of polygamists possibly living in Nevada, but they will pursue any leads. Dave?
Clark County and the state of Nevada are both getting sued for failing to protect children.
They've thought that the problem will go away without hard work, without new ways of doing things.
3-month-old boy died in the parking lot of Child Haven waiting for a visit with his mother.
The National Center for Youth Law filed a lawsuit. The group focused on 10 children who came out of the child welfare system in worse shape than when they entered it. Among the problems listed, unsafe conditions at Child Haven, inadequate child abuse investigations, and lack of support for foster parents. Well, can money make Nevada's education system better? A consultant brought in to study the state's funding on education says Absolutely. Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Kyla Grogan's following this story and has more. Kyla?
Good morning, Dave. Nevada needs to spend more money on education if we expect our public schools to compete with other schools across the country. That's what the study concluded. Right now, we spend $5,600 per student per year here in Clark County. The district says that puts us at the bottom of the list for spending and could lead to less achievement for our kids. The study looked at two things. First, what are successful schools in Nevada spending, and what would it take to bring all schools in the state to that level? The answer, an additional $73 million per year would need to be spent on education. The second question asked experts to fund schools based on the goal of 100% student proficiency by the year 2013. That high hurdle would add $1.3 billion to the current education budget. It's a number that has people talking.
We value our state and we value our children and we value our future. We're going to look into spending more money for education.
I don't think anybody is opposed to funding education at a more appropriate level, but we've got to look at the policy first. We got to make sure what we're funding is appropriate.
Today, state legislators are charged with the task of figuring out what to do with this study and to come up with specific proposals for spending on education in our state. Now, clearly two sides to this issue. One says funding is a direct link to achievement. The other says throwing money at schools won't necessarily solve the problem. Denise.
All right, Kyla, thank you. Well, you might soon be able to save some money at the gas pump. Already the prices are coming down just a little bit, but analysts say we may see $2 a gallon gas by Thanksgiving. And AAA predicts gas will be a dime cheaper by the end of next week. Analysts credit the end of the summer driving season and selling by petroleum traders for the decrease. But until we actually get prices to that level, car makers and entrepreneurs alike they're really betting their money on other sources of fuel like ethanol.
Consumer Reports conducted a study to see how viable ethanol is as an alternative to gasoline. Trish Regan has the details for us.
Entrepreneur Eric Will is giving the Old Miller Brewing Plant in Fulton, New York, a makeover.
A lot of the basic stainless steel vessels that were used for beer will be reused.
Reused to make ethanol. Investors have poured $200 million into Will's project in hopes of turning this shutdown brewery into the largest ethanol producing facility in the Northeast. There are now 103 ethanol plants nationwide, and 42 more are being built. The goal, a replacement for foreign oil that is also low in emissions.
What if we could live green by going yellow?
Car makers are also jumping on the ethanol bandwagon, pushing a line of flex fuel vehicles that run on gasoline or E85, a fuel made from 85% ethanol. But a new study from Consumer Reports casts doubt on the whole notion of ethanol as an alternative to gasoline.
It's not a panacea to replace gasoline.
That's primarily because ethanol is not as efficient as gasoline.
This is our fuel economy test.
Consumer Reports' David Champion road tested this Chevy Tahoe. On city streets, it got 9 miles per gallon on gasoline, 7 on ethanol. On the highway, 21 on gasoline, but just 15 miles per gallon on ethanol.
Consumer Reports goes on to say fuel economy can actually drop about 27% when running on ethanol. But there's a big debate going. Do you just wait for the regular gas prices to come down, or do you jump to some of this new stuff?
Or maybe get a hybrid. Those are selling like hotcakes too. So anything we can do to try and save some money. All right, here's a look at some of our top headlines this morning. Investigators looking into Sunday's deadly plane crash in Kentucky say the only air traffic controller working that night had just 2 hours of sleep. Officials say he had just 9 hours between shifts, which doesn't exactly meet the federal standards. It was toward the end of his shift when the controller cleared the pilot for takeoff. Authorities say when he turned his back, that's when the plane turned onto the wrong runway. 49 people died. The co-pilot was the sole survivor.
In about an hour from now, President Bush will deliver a speech on the war in Iraq in Salt Lake City. The president's launching a new round of speeches to try and raise public support for the war. The one happening this morning is the annual American Legion Convention in Utah.
And today is the deadline for Iran to stop its nuclear activities or risk UN sanctions. If the Iranians refuse, the Security Council could begin considering economic as well as political penalties. The U.S. is likely to push for those penalties.
In San Francisco this morning, murder charges may be filed against the man accused in a hit-and-run rampage. One person died and at least a dozen others were hurt when police say Omid Popo went on a 20-minute driving spree. He told police he was upset over a family dispute.
Back here at home, the man accused of driving his car onto the Las Vegas Strip has pled not guilty. 3 people died and 11 others were hurt when police say Stephen Ressa drove right onto the sidewalk and into pedestrians. Ressa told police he hit them because he thought they were demons. His trial is now set for January.
History will be made next month. The first woman space tourist is going to take her journey into the great beyond.
You got it. She's going to be heading for the International Space Station. She is the 4th space tourist to blast off, but the first woman. Anousheh Ansari hopes her historic journey will inspire kids to become interested in space exploration.
Ever since I was a child, I always used to gaze at the stars and wonder what's out there in the universe.
That 10-day trip is going to cost about $20 million. Ansari is also part of a team who is developing a private spacecraft to eventually ferry civilians into orbit.
Well, I saw Star Wars. I know what's out there. $10 million bucks.
There's no more Pluto, so things could change out
Yeah,
there.
that's right. It is a little different look. Sherry returns next with a look at our neighborhood weather. Now we're delving into the Labor Day weekend.
Yep. Also, Dana Rosselli has the latest information on your morning commute. Still ahead here in Sky Witness Traffic.
You're watching Channel 8 Eyewitness News this morning. It's not just news, it's eyewitness news.
The Food and Drug Administration has a new warning this morning on prescription drugs sold online from Canada. It says fake versions of widely used drugs are being sold and they may not be safe. Nevadans can fill their prescriptions legally from Canadian websites, but only specific ones are approved. But the ones that you are allowed to buy from, we're told, are not accused of filling these counterfeit drugs.
Now you don't have to go to the library or bookstore to get your hands on your favorite book. Google is now letting you download and print books free of charge from its website. The service extends to classic novels and obscure books that are not subject to copyright. Up until now, the service only allowed people to read these books online. So, Dana, you go get 50 reams of paper so you can print out War and Peace, and you can just have it right at your house.
Right, so why pay the, $20?
To lug it around. Yeah.
Right.
Because you could pay that in paper.
Gosh, too much paper. Look at all this.
I know. Well, we recycle. We should mention that.
We do. I know.
Very
I'm just
good
kidding.
about that.
Speaking of paper, I've got my pen out. That means there's lots of accidents.
Yeah.
Because I'm using paper to write them down.
Yeah. That's we're going to sign a check over to us.
No, you wish. All right, here's a look at the Rainbow Curve. 95 southbound, still slow from that accident that we had earlier, and everyone heading in the same direction this morning. You can see there, still slow around the curve. It's pretty slow all the way down toward the 15, but it is starting to move again, like we told you a little bit earlier. So it's not that bad. If you've got some time and you really want to take the highway, you could probably do it. If not, here's some alternate routes. You could always take Buffalo north to south, or Rancho north to south, or if you need to go in the eastbound direction, you could always take Charleston. And of course, there's a lot of alternatives out there if you need to take a different personal route. And again, if you've got the time, you could hop on the highway. It is starting to move, but it's also very slow. All right, let's take a look at some of our other shots here, showing you some slowdowns on Flamingo heading in the eastbound direction. Just a lot of traffic. Yesterday we had lane closures. That was really slowing things down bumper to bumper. Today it's just a lot of traffic going in the same direction, and really not too bad if you need to get through there. 15 northbound and southbound looking pretty good. Southbound just a little bit slow under the Flamingo Bridge. Here's a little bit more southward. Looking at the 215 and I-15, it's sitting right over the interchange looking to the north, and you can see both directions of 15 looking good, and it looks like I-215 is pretty clear as well. We did have an accident in the westbound direction, but that has since cleared. We also have an accident in Buffalo and Hacienda and Bermuda and Windmill, and also one reported at 15 southbound at Tropicana. That just popped up. So glad I got my pen, Sherry, because if not, I'd forget.
Mrs. Roselli has her pen out, so everybody be warned. Plenty of sunshine. Take the warning. It's going to be a hot afternoon. We were supposed to be getting that break in the heat starting today. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Anthem checking in the mid-80s, about 26% humidity. We had winds yesterday up around 20-25 miles an hour. Don't expect it to be that breezy today. Sandhill and Twain, some mid-80s as well. Humidity a little higher at George Harris Elementary School, 33% humidity. And up in the north end of town, Cheyenne near North Las Vegas Boulevard, Lincoln Elementary School right around 87 degrees this morning, and again, awfully calm. Well, we'll look for about 99 by lunchtime. Excuse me while I put my earpiece back in. 105 is what we're looking for the afternoon, and we were 103 yesterday, so hotter than that today, unfortunately, as we've got this high pressure off the west coast, still that dry westerly flow. But we look down here to Hurricane John as he starts to make his way up along the Baja coast. That's going to help pull up some of that extra monsoon moisture. So while Arizona will look for thunderstorms starting today and through the weekend, we might get our chance for some areas of southern Nevada in southern Clark County, maybe as early as tomorrow into Saturday and the weekend for us. Ernesto swirling its way up the east coast, bringing them plenty of rain into Georgia, the Carolinas, also some thunderstorms though, as well as possible tornadoes. So it's kind of a mixed bag, some nice rain, but could be some severe weather too. 104 to start off September, and then not much of a break, see, as we get into the weekend, and we're talking 102 Sunday, 101 Labor Day, and again, the threat of thunderstorms will be around the area. So be nice if we get a little bit of rain. Groups A, C, and E, you start watering Monday, Wednesday,
Good job,
Fridays.
guys.
B, D, and F, you only get Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday now, starting tomorrow, September 1st, and no watering on Sunday or between 11 and 7. So no nap for you today.
Okay.
Because as soon as Colleen, your wife, tells you which group you're in, you got to go set your
adjust
sprinklers.
the timer.
Exactly.
Okay.
As soon as I can find out where that is.
You're on it.
Thanks, Sherry. More from Ernesto. As Sherry reported, it's moving to the Carolinas, going to dump a bunch of rain up there. But before it left Florida, look at this.
Yeah, apparently a couple of Marines had to be rescued when they got caught up in the high winds and the rain. The U.S. Coast Guard came out and hoisted the pair to safety.
Early shows up next. We'll see you back here in 10 minutes.
You're watching Channel 8 Eyewitness News this morning. It's not just news, it's eyewitness news.
5 minutes before the hour, that back-to-school rush lives on,
Yeah.
especially through these first few days.
At least that first day is under our belt.
Yeah.
Students are getting back into the swing of things for the new school year, and this year enrollment is up, bringing the school district's total number of kids to more than 303,000. The district also has about 2,500 teachers, but hiring all of them, that was a challenge. Superintendent Dr. Walt Rolfus says keeping these teachers is the next step.
Looking back on day one, not everything went so good with all the local schools and all of those students. Thousands of them showed up to take the bus to school, but many of those not registered to ride. By law, though, the school district must transport any child who shows up to ride the bus, so everyone got there. The school district would just like parents to register the kids by September 15th so they know exactly who's at the bus stop and who needs a ride. That number you can find on our website, KLASTV.com.
A local father is voicing concerns on the safety of kids at a new Valley school. This is actually home video shot outside of Tarkanian Middle School near Blue Diamond and Jones. Now, there's no sidewalks there, no crosswalks, no traffic lights. Well, you can see this child is riding his bike right alongside the heavy traffic there. Then you see a parent stop the car right in the middle of the road. A child gets out and then is forced to have to run through traffic to get to the other side of the road and to get to school. Steve Smith hopes something will be done to make the area safer for those kids.
It's important for me to make sure that people understand what's really going on. I know a lot of people in high positions don't have an opportunity to really get out in the communities and see some of this stuff, but just for them to be able to see and witness what's really out there.
Just witnessing that traffic is a close call enough. North Las Vegas police say they have also seen some problems. One police officer says some children ran out right in front of his motorcycle, so still taking a while for people to get into the hang of things.
How does a school even come online when the roads around it are in such shape?
There's no
as what we
infrastructure.
saw?
I mean, even Dana knows that whole part of Blue Diamond is just growing so fast they don't have enough
What's going on out there?
time to build everything.
Yeah, they're building so many communities and stuff, and the road is not, we did a report on that, isn't up to where it should be just yet, but they have started the Blue Diamond widening project and have started to make improvements around there, so hopefully we'll see some changes. Still have backed up traffic 95 southbound at the Rainbow Curve. You can see that here in this shot. Still from that earlier accident, we had just a lot of congestion, so be aware of that. We also have a new accident reported 15 southbound at Tropicana. Here's a shot at I-15 in Charleston. You can see it's pretty slow there, so just keep that in mind. And then one more shot here, the airport connector and the 215. Traffic seems pretty steady in both directions. That accident has since been cleared that was in the westbound direction. And that's a look at traffic. Let's go over to Sherry now. right now.
Thanks a lot, Dana. Beautiful start to the day. Nice and sunny out there. Looks pretty harmless. But by the afternoon, we're going to have some of that late August heat for our last day of the month. Already we're pushing close to 90 degrees in the southeast side of town. Up in Camino El Dorado, it's 87. That's the same number at Red Rock, 73 in Pahrump, 85 in Boulder City. And look at the 90s already. The Lake, Laughlin, and Overton, they'll be pushing maybe 108 to 110 today, while the Valley tops out right around 105. We were supposed to get a little break in the heat starting today. I don't think that's going to happen, and even not that much of one over the weekend. Plus, we're sticky with a chance of thunderstorms possibly for the Valley starting Sunday. Dave, Denise?
Thank you, Sherry. Coming up at 9:30 on Las Vegas 1, the Warren Jeffs hearing live from the Regional Justice Center.
Meantime, Early Show is coming up next. We'll be back here in just about half an hour with an update on your news, your traffic, and your weather.